our vivid life, of our experiences with people. And when you look through the portraits that you also find there are different people that have meant different things to her, in her life's journey.
It's impressive, pleasant surprises. That's the much I could say. Because there was no time to take them to their GP in London or to that their doctor in Dubai. What will kill you in Nigeria is more likely to have finished you before you get to your doctor in Canada. So your best bet in Nigeria is to have the doctors that know you here. Having the president of a country in medical treatments abroad really has something to do with our national image. It has to do with our national psyche. I would like to see a Nigerian president that sees it as a matter of national pride. That no matter what it will cost us, no matter what it will be the cost on us, our governors and presidents are getting their treatment in Nigeria. Our elites are coming to that hospital, which is our prime hospital in Nigeria. That was the idea of the national hospital, but I don't think we pushed it to its logical conclusion. Why haven't we been able to retrieve our national airline? Because I don't think there's any reason for government to run an airline. So what I think should be our national airline is to encourage private companies who are in the aviation business to flag our national flag. We need a flag carrier, we don't need a national carrier. United Airlines is not an American airline. British Airways is not a British government airline. Dubai owns an airline, Emirates, but if you look at the management, the MD is a British guy. So it is important that we. Yes. Okay, so let's take a look at the African airlines. Ethiopia is at the Horn of Africa and has aviation as its major income earner. Kenya Airways is on life support machine. South African Airways is on oxygen. It is about $300 and something million in oxygen. Kenyan Airways have been sold to KLM. KLM have also sold it back to the Ethiopian Kenyan government because of the cost of the losses mounting in that airline. So you have to see the peculiarities of countries that hold national airlines. They do it because it's like they're owning their own national oil company. That's what Ethiopian Airlines means to Ethiopia. It's their national oil company. That's where they get their dollars from. I don't think there's any reason why we shouldn't encourage our airlines to come together. My attitude as minister was to encourage the pension funds to invest in the airline, diversify ownership, that we don't have any single owner of an airline like Harry or LPs or Co. We have institutional investors and they have the capacity and the resources to put in big airlines, and then they can fly the Nigerian flag. They can take over a bilateral agreement. Exciting conversations happen right here. The conversations over who leads, who governs, the opposition, and the yearnings of the people. And now, we have more time to dissect the issues. Politics Today is now 1 hour every day of the week at 7 p.m. and Sundays at 8 p.m. The biggest political stories, the newsmakers, and the real people in the story. All angles, every time. The political conversations just got wrapped up right here on Channels Television. For a continent
গত সপ্তাহে আপনারা জানেন যে যুক্তরাজ্যের আবহাওয়ার জন্য লাল মানে সতর্কতা মানে রেড অ্যালার্ট জারি করা হয়েছিল এবং সেই রেড অ্যালার্টের সময়কালে ঘূর্ণিঝড় আওয়ারের কারণে আপনারা জানেন যে ব্যাপক ক্ষয়ক্ষতি হয়েছিল। আজকে এসে আগামী সপ্তাহের জন্য হলুদ সতর্কতা জারি করা হয়েছে এবং নতুন একটি স্ট্রম বা ঘূর্ণিঝড় যেটির নাম দেওয়া হয়েছে স্ট্রম বারা সেটি আসার কথা আজকে নিশ্চিত করা হয়েছে। এর পাশাপাশি আগামী সপ্তাহ জুড়ে প্রচন্ড ঝড় বৃষ্টি ঠান্ডা থাকবে, বিশেষ করে ইংল্যান্ড স্কটল্যান্ড নর্থ ওয়েলস এবং আয়ারল্যান্ড এই জায়গাগুলোর মধ্যে বৃষ্টি এবং মানে প্রযুক্ত রাজ্য জুড়ে আসলে বৃষ্টি এবং তাপমাত্রার ব্যাপারে সতর্কতা জারি করা হয়েছে। তাপমাত্রা বলা হচ্ছে যে স্কটল্যান্ডে এবং আয়ারল্যান্ডে সেটা আসলে মাইনাসের দিকে চলে যাওয়ার সম্ভাবনা রয়েছে এবং ইংল্যান্ড এবং ওয়েলসে সেটা 1 থেকে 3, 4, 5-এর মধ্যে উঠানামা করবে। এজন্য সবাইকে সতর্ক থাকার জন্য বলা হয়েছে। ঘূর্ণিঝড় আওয়ান যখন এসেছিল গত সপ্তাহে তখন যে ব্যাপক ক্ষয়ক্ষতি হয়েছিল এর মধ্যে স্কটল্যান্ডে প্রায় 30,000 বাড়িঘর বিদ্যুৎ বিচ্ছিন্ন হয়ে পড়েছিল। এর মধ্যে এখনো প্রায় 7,000 বাড়িঘর বিদ্যুৎ বিচ্ছিন্ন অবস্থায় রয়েছে। এছাড়া বলা হচ্ছে যে চলতি সপ্তাহ জুড়ে ইংল্যান্ড এবং স্কটল্যান্ড, ওয়েলস এবং আয়ারল্যান্ডের কিছু কিছু জায়গায় যে তুষার পড়ার সম্ভাবনা রয়েছে। সুতরাং যে আবহাওয়ার অবস্থা আসলে গত সপ্তাহে যেরকম খারাপ শুরু হয়েছিল সেটি আগামী সপ্তাহে অব্যাহত থাকার কথা ইতিমধ্যে যুক্তরাজ্যের যে মেট পুলিশ যারা আসলে আবহাওয়া নিয়ে যে বিভিন্ন বার্তা দেয় সেখান থেকে নিশ্চিত করা হয়েছে। সুতরাং আগামী সপ্তাহ জুড়ে একটু বিশেষ সতর্কতা অবলম্বন করার কথাও কিন্তু তারা বলেছে। এই ছিল আবহাওয়া নিয়ে যুক্তরাজ্যের সরকার মেট্রোপলিটন অফিস থেকে যে সতর্কবার্তা জারি করা হয়েছে সেই সংবাদের বিস্তারিত। যুক্তরাজ্য সহ বিশ্বের এমন সব গুরুত্বপূর্ণ তথ্য জানতে গানারের ইউটিউব এবং ফেসবুক পেজে থাকুন।
Hello, Moto.
We've also had some individual homes affected where gable walls have fallen down, and we've moved those residents out of hotels to make sure they're looked after. So looking after customers has been our top priority, but it's been a very, very difficult period for some of our residents, but our colleagues have been tremendously responding to that. So we've looked after people, we've put in hotels. But yes, it's been undoubtedly a difficult period over the last 10 days or so.
Yeah, just as we were about to come on air, one of the residents was signalling from that window up there saying the power is off again. It's been on, off, and that has been the picture across the village. Talk to me about the wider area of County Durham, because it's not just this building behind me that you manage other properties, and the picture is varied in terms of severity, isn't it?
Absolutely. So we've got several thousand homes in County Durham. We've had a few shelter schemes where residents live together in the communal area, and they've been knocked out of power for 4 or 5 days after Storm Arwen. So it was quite a difficult period. We had staff on site over the weekend and throughout the night looking after them, providing hot drinks and meals, and also we give customers the opportunity to move out to hotel accommodation, which we would look after them for. some residents chose to stay, which was their choice, and some others chose to move out. So, but it's been a very difficult period for them, and we've done our very best to respond to that.
What kind of support have you had? I'm thinking about what the local authorities have been doing, what the power companies themselves have been doing.
We're fortunate we've got very good relationship with local authorities. We work in partnership and have done for many years on a lot of topics. So we've had offers of help in terms of alternative accommodation for some residents who have been displaced, offers of support in terms of other services they provide. They've offered colleagues who come and help us and support. Clearly, Northern Power Grid have had a very difficult time trying to reinstate power. They've had lots of power cables down, and it's been a very difficult period, and undoubtedly not helped by what's happening right now. And we're probably going to have another difficult night tonight.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry to drag you out here in the rain and the wind. You've had enough of it over the last 10 days or so. Have you never ever known anything like it? I mean, the North East famously, as I've said, can have 4 seasons in one day, and you know, has adverse weather quite regularly. But have you ever known anything like this?
I've been in housing for over 20 years now. I think this is the worst wind event I've ever seen, particularly on that Friday night. We reached 98 miles an hour in Northumberland, and that's unusual for us. We can regularly see 40 or 50 miles an hour, but that prolonged period overnight when it was so strong, and then the next day, that was fairly unusual. So it has been a very difficult event for lots of organisations to respond to.
Yeah, and as we're demonstrating here, standing out here shivering, the bad weather is back. Storm Barrett is upon us. It's going to get worse as the day goes on. How are your residents feeling about the fact that they are entering week 2? Well, they're approaching the end of week 2 without power, with intermittent power, and as I said, more bad weather upon them.
We're very fortunate that the community in the North East is very strong. People look after each other. So it's a regular thing that we've got. We do have difficult events up here in terms of the weather, and people come together and look after each other. But undoubtedly, it's going to be a difficult period again tonight. We've got a team of colleagues ready to respond throughout the night, as we always do. Every night of the year, we'll have a team ready if we're called out tonight to respond to more incidents, and we'll do so. And over the course of the week, we'll have more and more people. But it is going to be another difficult period. But hopefully, it's not going to be as bad as what we experienced a week on Friday.
Yeah, fingers crossed. But it needs to be sorted before Christmas, isn't it?
Absolutely. Christmas is a big period for everybody. It's a big family event, particularly after the events of the last year or so, when Christmas, many people last year didn't happen the normal way. So we'll do our level best to make sure that Christmas for our customers is absolutely normal as usual, and we'll do everything we can to support them.
Yeah, that seems to be the overwhelming feeling in this village. Everyone affected in one way or another. I'll let you get back to that building behind me. Just as we were on air, we had someone shouting the power was off. And so I think you might have to go and deal with that. Another phone call to the power company. Ian Johnson, really good to talk to you. Thank you so much. Go and get a cup of tea. If the kettle works, of course. All these things you have to think about, Ian. Thank you. Well, we have been in County Durham here all day. As I said, it started out a lovely, crisp winter's day. The weather has got progressively worse. Wind, rain, snow. Storm Barrett is on its way. We should have a code, that's what it's called, sorry, brain freeze, literally, a code on screen for you so you can keep up to date with the weather reports throughout the day. The Sky News weather team will keep you updated on Storm Barrett and the areas that it's going to hit and how they are going to be affected. And of course, you can keep up to date right here on Sky News as well. We'll be back after the break. The Foreign Affairs Committee is meeting to discuss the response to Afghanistan.
Last December, there was a Christmas party at number 10. A week since we learned about it, Boris Johnson's spokesperson insists there was not a party at number 10. The party took place when COVID rules made such gatherings illegal. Boris Johnson's spokesperson said, "I don't need to get into the positions we've taken, it's simply a statement of fact." But this isn't simple, because ever since the Daily Mirror broke the story, the government's been trying to explain that what happened was within the rules and that it wasn't a party, without offering any evidence to back up either claim. There was this from the Prime Minister last Wednesday.
All guidance was followed completely during number 10.
Then there was the Vaccines Minister, Maggie Throop, on Question Time last Thursday.
I have been reassured that all guidance was carefully followed as it continues.
Does that answer your question?
No evidence was offered to justify that reassurance. Then at the weekend, we heard from Dominic Raab, the Justice Secretary and Deputy Prime Minister, who appeared on Andrew Marr's programme.
Last Christmas, were Christmas parties allowed in London?
So look, if you're, so generally, no.
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 This is backed up by BBC Reality Check, which notes any party at Downing Street would have breached the government's guidelines at the time. When shown the guidance, Mr. Raab agreed that its meaning was clear.
Of course, if there was a formal party held, of course, that's something that was clearly contrary to the guidance you just cited.
The Justice Secretary talked there about a formal party, but the law made no distinction between types of party. It stated that no person may participate in a gathering in the Tier 3 area which consists of 2 or more people and takes place in any indoor space. Government guidance at the time said you must not have a work, Christmas lunch or party where that's a primarily social activity. But on what happened in Downing Street, Mr. Raab said it's impossible to answer the allegations on the basis of anonymous sources. The Justice Secretary did, though, accept this.
We can agree it was wrong. If it happened, it was wrong.
If something unsubstantiated from anonymous sources actually materialised, then of course it would be wrong.
Materialising information on this, though, ought to be possible. Remember, as one source told the BBC, food and drink was laid on for staff, including those from the press office and the Number 10 events team, and party games were played. These are people who work closely with the government, who were working in Number 10. And yet on Monday, the government was still questioning if something that we know happened had happened. The Crime and Policing Minister, Kit Malthouse, talked to BBC Breakfast.
I don't even know if an event took place, but if it did, that no rules were broken.
The Crime and Policing Minister doesn't know if the event took place, but an event did take place. An event that, if multiple accounts are correct, would have breached government guidelines. That party took place on the 18th of December. There are also multiple reports of another event on the 27th of November. The Guardian says this was a leaving party, believed to have been for Cleo Watson, a former aide to Dominic Cummings. It goes on to say a source with knowledge of the gathering said Johnson came in and made a speech mentioning how crowded it was in the room before leaving shortly afterwards to continue working. At this time, there was a national lockdown. Indoor social gatherings were banned unless within a household bubble. And police were looking for rule breakers. Weeks later, on the 17th of December, the Met told us how officers have shut down a wedding where 40 people were in attendance. It went on. Holding large gatherings could be the difference between life and death for someone else. London is in Tier 3. You must not mix inside with anyone who is not in your household or support bubble. Also in December last year, Leicestershire Police shared this video showing a raid on a gathering. The party was over. 2 people got £10,000 fines each for a gathering of 60. And the police continue to take action now. Here's Tristan Kirk of the Evening Standard reporting the Met Police happens to be, this week, prosecuting an alleged illegal gathering on December the 18th last year. Not in Downing Street, but a house in Ilford. Remember that one source had told the BBC the Downing Street party in December was attended by several dozen people. But this weekend, the Met said this. It's our policy not to routinely investigate retrospective breaches of the COVID-19 regulations. And in response to letters from Labour MPs, it said, we will, however, consider the correspondence we received. And while we all consider the gap between government assurances and available evidence, the Prime Minister has been launching a clampdown on drug dealers. And he's been asked again about last December, to which Mr. Johnson told the Liverpool Echo, on this business is in the media constantly, all I can say is no COVID rules are broken, and there you go. And so, once again, we have Mr. Johnson telling us rules weren't broken in Downing Street while offering no explanation of how this can be true. And now we have Mr. Johnson's spokesperson saying a party didn't happen when, by all other accounts, it did.